What's going on, guys? If you guys recall, I did a versus video with the latest ignition model R34 pitted against the auto art version, but in this video we actually have a new contender, MotorHelix. So let's see how that one pars up with the latest ignition model starting right now. So as you know, the 18 scale a little bit tricky as we tried to do this in the last video due to its size, but we've got the MotorHelix box here. One thing that you might be able to tell is the MotorHelix box is a lot longer, and there's a reason for that, which I'll show you in a little bit. And then we've got the ignition model version right here. So I'm gonna skip to unboxing them and let's get right to the cars.
A few moments later.
All right, guys, we've got them out of their box. First one and new contender is gonna be the MotorHelix version. Now, something you'll notice maybe for some of the GTR veterans, we are going to be comparing the CRS NISMO version. That's going to be the Clubman race spec with this gray gunmetal style of paint job. And then the brand new contender is going to be the ignition model. This is the brand new release that just dropped from them. We've got the latest from ignition model here. The CRS from MotorHelix has been around for quite a while now, a couple months actually. This was the perfect opportunity to compare this two brands. Now, remember how I told you guys that the MotorHelix version, the box was larger? Well, let's just get out of the way what other little goodies MotorHelix comes with. Okay, so with the MotorHelix, you're gonna get the car and then you're gonna get the engine. Okay, this is an 18 scale engine that MotorHelix provides with the model car. MotorHelix has also been known to sell these separately now, so you do get the motor. Not only that, you do get a engine hoist and a little pick there to open the doors if you need something like that. It's even got a little leveler in there. Now, we're not going to open these up because these are pretty self-explanatory. Mainly what we want to do is we want to compare the cars, but next we also have a little limited edition booklet. So for MotorHelix, this is going to tell you guys that there's a total of 1,199 pieces as opposed to ignition model that doesn't technically disclose how many that they've made. Oh, and then in here, it's got like little instructions on what to do. You got to pull that little string before you pop the trunk there, which is a little Easter egg. But I'm sure they've got some cool little branding and things like that inside this little pamphlet as well. But we're not done. It has an underbody spoiler piece that I'll show you guys a little bit later. Looks like this one goes at the front part. Lastly, what we've got is a different kind of underbody for the rear, as you can see right here. And I think some of you guys may know what that is. It looks like it's a rear diffuser, right? Okay, so we'll show you guys that a little bit later as well. Oh, and can't forget about the carbon fiber suitcase here. It's even got the little Z-Tune logo on there. So these are just some of the extra little goodies that you get with this model car. Let's get this stuff all out of the way. Now that we've got that out of the way, we've got the cars back into frame here, which is the meat of what we are comparing. Let's start with price point. Since you get all those goodies with MotorHelix, that's actually only gonna start you off at around like 300 bucks. And then for the ignition model is gonna be somewhere in the 320-ish range. You don't get the extra goodies, but you do get the ignition model brand and everything that they have to offer. So the MotorHelix released earlier this year. The ignition model just came out at the time of shooting this video. The MotorHelix is going to be a fully opening diecast, which I'll show you guys. And keep in mind that the ignition model is a sealed resin. As we've been doing in the past, let's start with the front. Okay, so the front of the car, it looks like we have a pretty good guidance on what these NISMO, Z-Tunes, CRS, if you want to call it, all look like. They're all going to have pretty much the same exact features. The only thing I would say again on the ignition model is that the front just has a lot more detail and you're able to get away with this because of the fact that it is a resin model car. Same thing through the grille. You can see those little details for the horn, the logo. The headlights have a lot more detail in them as well. The NISMO logo in the front mount, the license plate, and you've got the intercooler piping right there poking out. You've got the carbon fiber lip as well. And then moving on to the MotorHelix, you see the same exact things, but very similar to the auto art in terms of the detail on the headlight headlight here. You're not gonna see any of the detail through that grille, a little bit darker. The NISMO logo underneath that license plate, once again, suffering from the fact that it's in the wrong location, unlike the ignition model, which it is in the correct location, but you're not gonna see any detail like the intercooler piping or anything like that either. But the front bumper, the carbon fiber lip is all here, so they do share those characteristics. As far as the hood goes, as you can see, both rocking the vented hood. With one twist for the MotorHelix, you're gonna get these amazing details, right? Just like that auto art. But I'm gonna tell you guys right now, you can see all the carbon fiber tidbits. You can see the titanium strut bar there. You can see the NISMO intake manifold, the little sticker decal on that cover box there. Golly, this engine detail is actually insane. And it's one of the things that MotorHelix actually excels in, to be honest. So that's again, one of the detail extras that you do get with the MotorHelix. Now, a lot to say about the front, but let's move on to the side. Now, the side is gonna be very similar for what both of these cars have to offer. As you can see, both are rocking the blister style fenders for the NISMO Z-Tune, right? With the little fender part that sticks out. Both have the little logo there. I wanna say that's the CRS special logo. Both have the side markers. They've got the GT badge right there. Both rocking the side skirts here. The pillar arm, ooh, a little bit of a difference. Check out the MotorHelix version. You can see that it's a carbon fiber pillar and it also has the NISMO logo right there. Whereas on the ignition model, you don't have the carbon fiber pillar and you don't have the NISMO logo. But I want to say that the MotorHelix actually got that one right. You can see the over fender arches here in the back right there, right here. You can see it on the ignition model as well, right here. So they've got all that. And then moving on to the wheel and tire specs, something cool that you'll notice on the MotorHelix is they've actually got some Bridgestone Potenza tires on here, which is pretty neat. You've got the NISMO LMGT4s in a gloss black. And then behind that, you'll see the drilled rotor with the gold calipers, which is pretty signature. Rear's doing the same exact thing. And then rolling wheels because it is a die-cast product. Now on the ignition model, the thing that I like to show off the most is the stance, right? You've got this lowered stance, which is super nice, super aggressive. For a static display, this is a nice option. And then behind the wheels, also having the drilled rotors, gold calipers, tires, a little bit stretchy, but not rocking any name brand tires. The LMGT4 looking absolutely nice and gloss. Actually, they look a little bit larger on the ignition model than on the MotorHelix. So stance is perfect. Got the multi-piston there as well in the rear. So ignition model, as far as presentation goes from the static display side, looking really awesome. But now that we've taken care of the sides, let's move on to the back. The back of these looking absolutely good. It's got the spoiler with the carbon fiber insert here for both. You've got the tail lights, you've got the amber turn signals on both. You've got that Nissan logo, the GTR logo, the V-Spec logo on both. Let me take a look here just to make sure. Yep, it's there. You've got the Skyline text there. You've got the red and clear right there. And then you've got the NISMO license plate. And then for the underbody here on the ignition model, you can see the tow hook sticking out through the middle there. You can see the carbon fiber diffuser right there. And I love the detail on this exhaust tip. As mentioned previously, when we compared the auto art, you can see that it's got like a titanium look to it. And then you've got the rear bumper here for the Z-Tune series, the aftermarket bumper that connects with this arch right there. So everything is looking great. And then the tint is actually a lot darker on this one, but it still has the interior details, as you can see. It's got the defrost here, rear wiper, all that good stuff. One of the things that I mentioned is that the speaker details look great. And let's also take a look at the MotorHelix and see how they did. So MotorHelix got the wiper, defrost, everything there. Not as much tint, but it does have speaker covers here and the rear seat details. The extra goodie with the MotorHelix is, of course, this bad boy right here, which is, oops, sorry, this little string is there to hold it down so it doesn't break. You've got the same carpeting details there and then an opening trunk lid. So you've got that portion of it as well. Oh, you do have a titanium style tip tip exhaust on it as well. You got the rear bumper here. And then check out all the detail right here when it comes to the MotorHelix. You're gonna have a ton more because it is a diecast product, something that the Ignition model does not have. All this is literally just going to be like a plastic base with nothing on it. And then let me show you the real kicker when it comes to the bottom area for the MotorHelix. Now you might be thinking, well, MotorHelix forgot the diffuser. Well, that's actually not the case, because as you recall earlier, they actually sell it as a separate piece. What you do is you actually are able to mock it up like this, as so. Check it out, just like that. So now you've got that diffuser exactly where you need it to be, just like the Ignition model. Now, why did this make this detachable? Maybe they just made it a little bit more fun that way. And how it sticks is it's got these two little magnets right there. Pop it on, pop it off, and it's got perfect fitment. Now, let me show you guys also the other front piece that goes with the MotorHelix as well. Now, the front side is also gonna have this front splitter here. It's not a splitter, it's actually more of a guard for the undercarriage area. So you can just put that there like that, and as you can see, perfect fit, carbon fiber. All that stuff is protected like so, and reveal all your stuff. Oh, something else to note is you got some telescoping wheels here as well. So that's pretty cool about the MotorHelix. Something else to note is actually the paint scheme, if you haven't noticed already. Now, all that's good, but when it comes to the color, and this is probably the biggest difference between these two. So with the Ignition model, you can see it's a lot lighter. However, it does have a gray tone to it, but it just seems super light compared to what the CRS is actually supposed to look like in real life. Whereas the MotorHelix is actually going for that darker color scheme, as you can see here. Definitely a gray as well, but both vetted by Nissan. So I'm not sure why the difference is so different between the two when it comes to this color. This gray is actually a lot more accurate, I think, to the one in real life. You guys can be the judge of that down in the comment section below, but let me know what you guys think. Now let's move on to the interior. But moving on to the interior here, you can see it's got the red center seats, the bucket seats right there, the Recaros. A little bit hard to tell because, again, with the Ignition model, it's a resin, so you can't open it up, but you can see all the center console details, the steering wheel, the gauges are there, the dashboard is here. That looks exactly like the previous one we did with the midnight purple. You can see all the vents there. And then in the rear, you do see some of those seat details. And it looks like the rear actually has like gray center, not red or anything like that, but all the little detail bits are there. Now on the MotorHelix, it's gonna be a little bit simpler for us to check it out. Why? Well, because it's an opening diecast. So there you go, right? You can see everything, the pedals, the seats, the steering wheel, the dash, everything is there. You can see a little bit about the door panel here, and obviously the other side is going to open up as well. Now some may say that, oh, you know, I get my money's worth with an opening diecast, but at the end of the day, guys, it's all going to be a preference type of thing. And although the Ignition model is more expensive, some people love the display of it. And if one of the biggest factors is actually the color difference, pick your poison. And then in the next video, we'll have to see what MotorHelix does against the Auto Art.